Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Tanya and we're going to be diving into your human design. So this new series, Experiencing Your Human Design, discover your blueprint and transform your life with human design. If you have not yet got your human design chart, make sure you pop over to my website where you can download yours for free so you can follow along. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the sessions in this upcoming series. So let's dive into what makes a manifestor so unique and special within the human design system. Now, firstly, manifestors, you're the real go-getters of the world. You're the ones with the natural ability to get things started, to make people get into action, to get motion happening. So you do all this from an internal creative urge. You do not need any external permission, any external cues to have this initiation and this action in play. So imagine you're like a giant spark plug, really, that can ignite action and set things into motion. And that is a most amazing gift that you have as a manifestor. Manifestors make up about 8% of the global population, and they have a really strong ability to initiate and lead others. They are there to inspire us all into action, and therefore they have this great power and they can create a significant influence on their surroundings. So they must be careful of how they wield that power. Now, with their energy, they need to honor cycles of energy. They will have a massive burst of energy, of creative urge, when that creative urge needs to get out of the body into the universe. But they've also got to realize that once that creative burst has happened, they need that cycle of rest and recuperation. We need to make sure that the manifestor does not burn out by continuing to work and use that creative energy. They will have cycles of work and then cycles of rest and recuperation. Manifestors can sometimes feel like they're not understood, and others may view manifestors as being closed off, hard to get to know, or possibly even selfish. Now, this is not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. That's a perception, but actually what it is the manifestor has an aura that does protect it and create this space for them to be able to have their creative urges, their inspirations without distractions and getting sidetracked by others who may interfere with that creative burst of energy that's coming through. So it's really like the manifestors have this protective shield that allows them to do what they're here to do, to be able to focus so they aren't distracted and taken off task. And while they've got that creative energy for that period of time, they can put it to work. So a lot of manifestors will feel anger when they're taken off task or distracted from what they're doing when they're in that creative urge. But that's something that we will talk about when we get to the manifestor not self. The life purpose or primary role of a manifestor is to use those creative urges to initiate change and to inspire people into action. Therefore, with this creative urge, really lends them to be natural born leaders. They are pioneers in their field, and they really thrive in roles that allow them the ability to innovate and lead others. So when it comes to career choices or work choices, you will find a lot of manifestors feeling very comfortable in roles as project leaders, in creative roles where they're coming up with the big ideas. They tend to be visionaries, and a lot of them will lend themselves to be entrepreneurial. When it comes to relationships, the manifestor really thrives when they're surrounded by people that respect their need for independence, that understand that they need their creative space, and also the people that understand that the manifestor goes through these energy cycles where they have an output of energy when they've got this internal creative urge coming out of them, and then the time that they need to rest and recuperate after that creative burst of energy has fulfilled itself. So it's really crucial that the manifestor has space that allows them to have this creativity without interference, without being sidetracked, so it can properly express itself into the world. Manifestors are not built for the 9-to-5 grind like the generator types in the human design system. So if you know a manifestor, or you've got a manifestor as a partner or a friend, understanding this energy type will help your relationship. Within the human design system, it's really important to honor your strategy. So as a manifestor, the strategy is to inform. This is how the manifestor interacts with the universe. It's about informing others before taking action. By informing others of your ideas, your visions, your creative urges, what you're up to, it helps reduce any misunderstandings and reduces resistance to your ideas when people are sort of given the heads up before you go and take action. This is really important to note. This is not about seeking permission before you go and act on your ideas and your visions and your creative urges. It's just about keeping others in the loop. So it's about informing your family, your friends, your work colleagues about any plans or ideas before you go and act upon them. So this actually helps you gain support for your ideas. People don't feel like they've been left out of the loop, and it also clears the path for you to execute on these creative ideas and initiatives in a more harmonious way with the people you're surrounded with. Within human design, we have a self and a not self, and it is a feeling. In human design, we need to get out of our head, out of our logical brain, and back into our body and how it feels. So the feeling of not self within the manifestor is anger. The signature feeling, which is on track, we're on alignment, is a feeling of peace. So that not self anger, that comes up usually when a manifestor is taken off task. They're disturbed from their creative urge. They have this feeling of anger, or something is not right. It is off. It is misaligned with you. And that is when we need to assess the actions and your surroundings to get yourself back to a feeling of peace. What can you do to get yourself back to that flow where there's no friction? So we need to feel that in our body. That is what's meant by the signature self and the not self. So the not self with the manifestor is a feeling of anger when you're misaligned, you're off track. The feeling of peace where everything is flowing, there's no resistance, there's no friction. That is what you're aiming for. The main aim or goal as a manifestor is to live in alignment with that signature self feeling of peace. Now, to be able to do that, we need to unlearn or be deconditioned from what society has placed upon us or what we have learnt over our years. That conditioning has come in the forms of pressure to conform. Well, manifestors, you are 8% of the population. You can't conform to what the rest of us are doing. The other ways that the manifestor has been conditioned is waiting to act on their ideas and their creative inspiration. Also seeking permission before they go ahead and do what they need to do. And that need for external validation. All of those things only leads to a feeling of anger within the manifestor, and that is when you know you are off track. There are things you can do to unlearn or decondition, and the biggest one is really awareness, getting out of that logical head and start feeling in the body that not self feeling of anger, and be aware of when it arises so you can start implementing things to get back on track, or just being aware that that feeling is there may enable you to start looking at setting more boundaries for yourself, understanding that maybe you're not communicating in the way that you should be and you're not informing those people around you, and also honoring and understanding your own energy cycle. that you cannot just keep going as a manifestor. You do need that time to recuperate after that big burst of creative energy. So the aim as a manifestor, or the goal, is to live in alignment with that signature self of peace. Thanks very much for joining me on this series, Experiencing Your Human Design. I hope you got some valuable insights out of it. Please make sure to subscribe and share with your friends. I can't wait to have you join me on the next episode.